welcome to the show. Today we have Nick Turnbull, the founder of growthboost.ai. Welcome to the show, Nick. Great to see you.
Hey, yeah, good to see you again, Brandon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's hop right into it. We've already been talking about AI a little bit. What's the most interesting thing you're working on with AI right now?
Building out AI operating like dashboards, taking, pre-existing softwares that people have maybe just kind of like commingled with, Zapier or Make or just piecemeal operations that they've been running in their business with like old broken Excel spreadsheets and trying to connect it with CRMs. But now with the beauty of Claude code, you can like really bring all of these things to life and then also make them agentic by adding in, agents to work alongside you in your day-to-day. So those are some of the fun things that I'm working on at the moment.
And there's so much, it's like Zapier feels like ancient technology right now. And it's so funny because 2 years ago, it's like, we're sending zaps everywhere. We're doing this and we're automating. And now it's like, oh, you're using Zapier? Like, why are you doing that? Because
Yeah.
what's a good example of something that was heavy Zapier that you've fixed with Claude code for someone's operations?
Yeah, there's a company that I'm working with right now. It's a financial advisor CRM system, and they have over 50,000 Zap calls a month right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So a lot of their business is in there, and we're slowly just starting to work on like taking those pieces out and moving it over directly, direct webhooks and inside of Claude code. So one of those is just their top of funnel lead gen. When all the leads are coming in from all their different sources, they used to go to multiple different Slack channels. I'm now building Claude managed agents, which is basically the open Claude version inside of Claude, which I don't think a lot of people even know about yet. It came out like at the end of April, where you can set up a credential vault with several like MCPs or just connections into softwares, as well as a cloud environment. And then you take that same like skill file that you would build in a Claude chat or Claude cowork, and you would launch it in there, and then it's fully autonomous. So what it would do, it connects to a couple of their different tools, and it'll go ahead and scrape all of the research data that their sales team used to have to do that would take them anywhere between 15 to 40 minutes depending on the lead, and it does it in like 30 seconds. So now it's speed to lead to where the reps don't have to do that, and then everything's just queued up in their systems to go ahead and just start making dials and getting on the phones and also teeing up emails and things like that connects to their other tools that they're using. So that's a big one that I'm working on at the moment.
So the difference between when you're spinning up an agent like that and just a scheduled skill that runs is that it has MCP, like it has logins into specific places, and it's not on a schedule. It's monitoring it consistently. Or what's the core advantage of that agent model?
Well, it's in a cloud environment, so then it can always be running constantly.
Okay.
With cowork, your computer has to be open, so you can still do the scheduled tasks. You can, because like right now I have it running in cowork where it's running every 5 minutes. I was just checking everything in Slack and tracking the leads, which eventually we'll move off of that to just webhooks. But yeah, I think that's a big piece of it, of why, even though I love cowork, it's kind of a pain because of that aspect. Now, granted, you could set up an old computer or Mac Mini and just have cowork always like on and running that way. But now Claude has released this new functionality, so then you can just have it go and just keep running. Like they even have like pre-built agents that you can start using, like deep research mode, like what Kaparthi had put out with his GitHub repo. There's like some support agents that you can do with Zendesk and Slack and everything else there. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities right now just building directly into Claude. And yeah, they're going to continue to just push out more features every single day, it feels like at this point, because they're going to IPO here shortly and it's going to just continue to advance.
Take my money.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've got a laptop right here next to me that's just like, I will just put cowork into like long tasks and just keep it running as I'm like working on other stuff, and it just so it doesn't get in my way, and I can leave it on when I go to sleep and stuff. So anyway,
Yep.
wow, it's amazing that I'm learning and building stuff with this all day, and there's something like that that's just such a level up that I haven't even gotten to yet. There's so much to get into that it's all about picking where time gets focused, and I've got to reallocate some of my brain power to what you're talking about now. That's
Yeah.
epic.
And the
Wow.
managed agents, though, they run on APIs and Claude, so they're not on your like normal subscription account. So there is a caveat there. But as long as you're smart about how you leverage the skills and set them up, they're not going to burn a bunch of tokens. I think that's another hot topic right now, like the token maxing, and like all these companies have these like boards of like how many tokens people are using as like their badge of honor. And I think that's a bunch of crap because it just shows people just don't have strategy right now. And they're not really thinking of, they're just looking at these as toys and just thought like it was going to continue to be cheap. And now the compute costs are going up, and I just feel like it's wasteful.
Yeah, we see that. Our compute costs have, I mean, just on Claude stuff, we're over a few $1,000s a month. And then we do heavy make automations as well. And so, yeah, all the infrastructure starts to add up. W- with what do you think about being heavy on make? Is there a way around that with GHL, or are make automations? Is there a good way to use APIs and webhooks with GHL? Are we kind of stuck there because it's GHL?
You can use their private integration APIs and connect. Like I built out my own MCP within GHL to call into Claude. Are you saying to talk to make in GHL or?
Well, I think the most sophisticated thing that we're trying to do right now, or that we are doing, but it just feels a little bit clunky. I'm wondering if there's a better way to do it, is scraping the entirety of conversations and pushing them into Supabase. So for example, we have someone, let's say just one land seller lead. This person has had a conversation with Maya, the AI. That transcript is in GHL. Then we've sent them some text messages, and maybe our client has got them on the phone, and we have a transcript of the client's conversation. Then we have some text messaging back and forth with them, maybe some emails. So we've got all this conversation history. We push all of that into Supabase, and then we reference it for context so that we can have so that Maya can now call outbound again with all that context. Like, hey, your daughter went away to college 6 months ago, and you said in July you were going to reevaluate, that type of thing, where they have context about what they talked about in the past. It's just very clunky scraping all that data out of GHL. How would you approach that part, the scraping
Yeah,
part?
well, I think that's a hard part you're running into right now because like their MCP, like if you're using those private API integrations to set up an MCP or just like a normal API call, the read and write permissions is all based off how they have it set up. You can't really do anything else there. So unless like you did, no, that wouldn't even work. I was thinking you could do the browser function, like the new goal mode that people are using, and set it up that way. I mean, there could be a possibility where you do the MCP with the private integration into like Claude code, and then have the Supabase connected to Claude code, and then they start talking to each other. That could be an opportunity if you're looking to completely get away from make, and then just have it set up that way.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, I'm just there's all these engineering questions that you start to think through. I'm sure that at one point we just hit like some sort of tipping point where it's like, oh, that's not even a problem anymore. And so sometimes it's just wait a little bit longer and things fix themselves. It's like
Oh
clunky for a
yeah.
little while.
Yeah,
So
I mean, Opus 4.8, just turn it on like max and then just ask it that question and you'll be fascinated. Like every time the new model comes out, if I have like current like client products that I've already built, like I'll take the new model and I'll run an audit on the code in GitHub and like reevaluate it. Be like, okay, point out exactly like how this code base looks today. What are the security flaws and like things like that. And I think that's, super helpful. And I just did that this morning and found some gaps and I'm getting it corrected.
that's actually really smart way to leverage the new rollouts, is just go review all the code bases. That's that's a great call. That's a nice little tidbit. I just
Yep.
went through and did tech hardening. So I went through and just looked at all of our infrastructure, basically all of our logins, who has privileges across the entire company. It's kind of like a massive project, but it was really eye-opening. They're just like, oh, you have structural flaws in your layout. But anyway, I'll take that advice there, because that's a good one to go look for holes in the code or ways things to make stuff more efficient. What have you seen with 4.8 that's different, or what's the biggest upgrade you think it's been? Is it noticeably smarter?
Oh yeah, it's definitely noticeably smarter. I mean, I build some of these products, and then some of them I can repurpose based off of like the use cases, and how quickly I was able to like take one of my old code bases and then like strip it down and like relaunch it for a new client. Was like 30, it felt like 30 seconds. It was like so quick. I just was dumbfounded by it. Now granted, I had to do a lot of work to get to this point, and like understand how to navigate it. But like, yeah, it continues to just blow my mind. Like the new coding language is just natural language, and you just have conversations, and as long as you know how to navigate it and put things together, you can do very fascinating things very quickly. So
what do you see the difference between how you use Claude Code and how you use Cowork? And are you just mostly in Claude Code at this point, or do you bounce back and forth? And do you have like a clear definition of why you use? I know the limitations of Cowork, but I'm just asking. Like, some people say, I just only use Claude Code because there's no reason for Cowork. Do you see it like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's depending on the use case. Like for the normal person in the world that's still going from 0 to 1 with AI, like Cowork is a really good UI, and it gets them thinking about how they need to do it. I just did an AI for small business owners talk at my local library, which I never thought I'd be doing an AI talk at a library.
Bring them back.
But I was telling all these business owners, and there's like 35 people in there, about how to go from 0 to 1 and how to go from Claude Chat to Cowork. And I started talking about it, but then I was like, wait a second. I'm like, how many of you are even using Claude? And only 2 people raised their hand. I'm like, okay, we actually need to go back even a step further and talk about just Claude Chat, and like discuss how like this is probably how you've used AI before, like with ChatGPT, or even if you had any conversation with AI before, it's just like, back and forth conversations. So then I had to teach them how to go from a Claude Chat project, transfer it into Cowork, and then start talking and handling it. I mean, at the end of the day, like Cowork, like the scheduled tasks are really good. Like the ability to connect tools very quickly for the normal person, just because you can just go to the connector aspects, is awesome. And then the other benefit is the plugins. Because the plugins are just packages of skills, and they just released this small business owner one to where it has all the connections built in. So it has like QuickBooks, PayPal, Stripe, HubSpot, and you can replace them with whatever you're using. Plus, it came with 32 skills that a small business owner would use. So then you just take that, drop it into the project in Cowork, and off you go. And that's your new intern. And now you have to teach it, your business and your SOPs. But at the end of the day, like that's how somebody can get a good understanding. Versus like, hey, we're going to plan something out in Claude Chat, and then I'm going to take that, because that's usually how I do all my planning. And then we're going to take it into a zip file. I'm going to download Virtual Studio Code on your computer. And then we're going to start chatting in Claude Code in there and start building out these applications, because that's a different mindset and just like the way it's going to work. But I taught a 65-year-old last month how to launch an app on the App Store for a mold remediation business. So I definitely think it's still very possible. It's just, what do you want it to do, and how you want to interact with it.
So when you brainstorm in chat, and then you're taking the entire chat into a zip file, like what are you doing there specifically again? You're turning it into a zip file, MD file, and taking it into code.
Yeah, I
when you have
pretty much go into plan mode, the ask me feature, and then like I turn on voice mode, like with Whisper Flow, and I just start having a conversation of like, here's the project that I want to build out. This is what I need to do. We're going to plan it here. I need you to do like reverse interviewing. So you're going to ask me questions. I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. It builds out the whole, folder structure of how it's going to look. And then from there, I take that zip file and then I drop it into Virtual Studio Code, and then I keep my chat open, because then I'll start having conversations with like, okay, what are the prompts and things that we want to start out with? Because you just take that folder and drop it into Claude Code and say, build it. Like, it's going to potentially still miss things because you're dropping everything in at once, to where you can go in phases. And I like kind of doing that still, but there's other people that are going to tell, that might watch this and be like, you could just launch it. And like, that's what I'm seeing differently in Opus 4.8 right now, is when I launched my recent client's product last night, it started spinning up like all these different agents to start doing different things as it was just taking over my old repo, which 4.6 and 4.7 didn't do. So you can tell like the way it's thinking and processing things is a lot different.
Interesting. And so you're asking chat to build you a hypothetical file structure, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. I think that's probably a faster way to do it and less token intensive. I do a similar approach, but in Cowork, and have it build out the file structure like as we're going and going through it. But then
Cowork will eat up your usage very fast.
Yeah. So that's like, I gotta be token maxing. Like, so, okay. So yeah, I need to shift that into chat. That's a sharp idea.
And if you're using Cowork, you should really be on the $100 plan, because if you're on the $20 plan now, it's not worth it.
For sure. What else are you building? What's another cool project? Or actually, I have a question regarding the business owners. So when you go and you're doing that 0 to 1, what do you teach them? What's the entry point of what's the thing that makes it click for them? Here's why this is so powerful.
I think it's showing them like some of the scheduled tasks and like actually seeing like what it can produce. And that's something that I see like out of the gate, where people's light bulbs start going off, where I'm like, hey, I just connected this to QuickBooks and I did this and I have it doing that, and these responsibilities are here, and then it's producing these tasks. But it's high level with a bunch of people in the room. I think it really clicks is if I'm sitting there one-on-one with them, and I'm walking them through the exact problem that they're dealing with in their business, and when I show them how I can set up and Cowork for them, that's really when the light bulbs go off. Because sometimes when you're in these larger rooms with people, or even on webinars, like a lot of people still look at me like I have 8 heads. So, and I try to keep it as like elementary as possible, and I tell people, I'm like, stop me if you think I'm up here, when I'm really trying to be as minimal as possible. Like I did enablement for entry-level sales reps for like 8 years. So like I always had to be down here when I was teaching new people, and I'm still trying to do it with this technology, but sometimes I forget how much I'm in this on a daily basis, and I need to go back down to ground zero.
I think that I think a lot of it's mental, because there's two things working against people who look at this. For one, there used to be this giant barrier to entry to being a computer engineer. It's like speaking German or something. It's like you don't just do it without massive amount. There's a barrier. And then the other thing is just the terminology like triggers that for people. You're like, oh, Supabase, or what database you're using, or this and that. And it's like, so those things make people just like, nope, impossible. And I think like the breakthrough that I try to give people when I'm one-on-one is that this is all now possible just talking how you talk. Like you can just say the stuff, and who cares what it's called? It's irrelevant. But if you do that over time, all of a sudden you'll start getting the vocabulary to describe what you're talking about. You'll sound like an engineer all of a sudden, but still you never became an actual engineer. Like there's a mental hurdle there for people that it like doesn't click until they do something themselves and be like, oh my gosh, you can just say the thing and it does it.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. It's just like sometimes people don't type like they talk. It's just like how people get mental blocks when they're writing emails. They overthink it and they're trying to type something out. I'm like, that's not how you would speak this to somebody on the other side of the conversation. So now you have the ability to just use whisper flow and just have a conversation with Claude code, and you'll be amazed. Now, granted, you can use Codex too. It's just as powerful, and there's people that are saying that it's better right now as well. So I try and dabble in all of them to test it out. But at the same time, like 5.5 came out and everyone's like, oh, it's AGI. Now 4.8 came out. They're like, oh, it's the same. And now this is AGI. And I'm just like, that's why I'm just like, I'm staying in my systems. I'm not going to really try and change anything because it's just going to be a back and forth race until something happens.
Yeah, there's something to be said for just learning something, driving deep into it, unless there's some sort of clear reason to switch, for sure. Um, oh, what do you think the most complicated, impressive thing that you built that you even surprised yourself with is?
Well, I made that land ops CRM system for our land business. I was pretty mind blown by that. And then also when I was just dabbling with the OpenGIS data and ended up scraping 600,000 parcels off the county website and built
Shut
out
down
my
the
own.
internet.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive back in March. And I was like, oh, okay, there is a lot of possibilities as long as the data's out there, I can get access to it. Those are two big ones that I was just like, okay, that was kind of like my gateway drug into like Claude code. I was like, all right, there is a lot you can do here. And then like what I just built for one of my customers that is he's a pretty big influencer on the internet, and his particular field, he has like 1.5 million followers. And I pretty much replaced like 6 tools, a couple people on his team. And then now his YouTube manager just handles all of it. And it's created like a whole command center for his YouTube content, so he can figure out exactly what his competition's doing and how he can draw more eyes to his channel versus others. So these custom solutions that you can build with Claude code, as long as you know how to have conversations with it, can really open everything up.
And are you, when you build something, that's something interesting, because we are building out, and we finished building out a giant command center for Land AI. That's our entire operation. Everything we do is now appified. And so everything lands in one spot. Anywhere we want to see metrics for the cold calling, metrics for Maya, metrics for the clients, metrics for whatever, it's all just in one giant, beautiful dashboard. And
Yeah.
it's just exciting. There's these things that you always kind of wish you could do, or maybe you think, oh, if we were a Fortune 500 company, we'd probably have this beautiful dashboard, like the heartbeat of the company, and we could have our finger on the pulse. But you don't. You could be a laundromat now, and you can have that, and that's that's exciting.
Yeah,
Exciting.
I have a friend that's actively invested in real estate that I know that also owns like 4 gas stations in their hometown, and they are wanting me to build out that type of system. And they're like, yeah, we need to track it for gas levels and like all these different things, prices and whatnot. But also we want to integrate it with the restaurants that we have, our smaller restaurants that are in our gas stations. So like we can track food costs and like all these things. And it's just mind blowing. Like that stuff wasn't possible before because there wasn't a software company that was out there willing to like give people the keys to do that. And now you have the ability to do that with all the coding functions within AI now.
What's the most interesting client that you think you've built out tools for?
Well, right now I'm working with a holistic doctor, and he's also like pretty big on content, but he's doing all the stuff like working with his clients and trying to build out, their own internal, like, hey, this is everything going on within your body. Now, granted, there's like,
HIPAA stuff.
HIPAA stuff involved, but there's a program out there called Caragon that you can actually work with to like connect all that data and stuff, but it becomes there. So it's like, hey, after you visit me, here's your system, here's everything going on in your world. Because there are people out there right now that are using these like AI operating dashboards as like personal health software. Like they're connecting their Apple Watches, their Garmin's, their old 23andMe data, their blood tests from Function, and they're getting all this snapshot. And they have like voice to text to where people are talking like, hey, this is what's going on with my body today. And it's creating its own brain and like understands the body and can identify things a lot faster than needing to call up a doctor. So that's a pretty interesting thing that I'm doing right now. And again, I'm pretty vertical agnostic. Like I'm still doing stuff in B2B tech, but there's so much opportunity right now, like in these little niches with this technology. And that's really what excites me.
Yeah, that is exciting. I have a health dashboard actually with Function Health and all that stuff you're describing. It's great. The best thing about it is it'll tell me to take breaks. You know, the days that like I'll beat myself up, like, oh, dude, you're gonna skip the gym today. Like, the system will be like, no, dude, you need a rest day. Actually, you should just chill out, take a walk. And I'm like, oh, this is actually, thank you. I need a computer to tell me that, because I'll never choose that for myself. If I do that, I'll beat myself up on it. So it's kind of cool.
I'm debating getting rid of my Apple Watch and getting that new Google Air, because there's no screen and it's just and it'll tell you the time, but it's just kind of like a band, and then you still get all the health data. Just trying to eliminate all the notifications and everything else going on in the world now. So there's too many things.
Yeah, I wonder, like, it's kind of cool. You think about this massive technology shift could almost bring us back to more real life stuff. It's like maybe we stop typing on our computers and getting notifications on our phone and having our wrist beep all the time. It's like all of a sudden it's like just this eerie silence. And we're back to being human because AI is just doing everything in the background and we don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, like that's a hopeful picture.
Yes, I'm optimistic on that. I mean, the millennials are trying to bring back the 90s childhood. So I'm 100% on board for that.
I'm so pumped on that. I actually went to the boardwalk for my niece's 13th birthday this weekend. And it felt like it was the 90s. Like the kids were in big baggy jeans and like the fair sounds going off. The people were, I was just like, oh, this feels good. I like it.
Yep.
So, they're watching old movies and stuff. They're watching like the Goonies and old like Sublime, the old bands and stuff. Yeah, it's a really interesting time to be.
Sublime's got a new album coming out. I just saw on Spotify. I was pretty shocked by that. But
no kidding. Yeah, I mean they're having like a resurgence, and I guess that makes sense. They ride the wave.
Yep,
that's cool. Funny. So what have you built specifically for land? What's your angle on land these days, and what do you built, and what direction you see it going?
Yeah, so I mean, going back with these AI operating dashboards, like you have the ability, if you have a buy box and like exactly like what you're trying to set up for your own business with the GIS data that's out there, you can create your own mapping systems. You can pull in all these different data points. Some of the tools that are out there now have open APIs, so you can pull in additional data on top of your own, and really get your acquisition channel humming, as long as you can do all the distribution on the back end. So those are some of the things that I've been working on. Like I was on the Land Portal podcast recently, and I've had 2 separate developers reach out to me, very old school gentlemen, been in the space for like 30 years. And they're trying to figure out how to implement this. And like I'm building out acquisition hubs for their particular buy boxes in very specific areas of the country. But both of these guys can perform on the back end because one of them has done over like 4,000 spec homes. The other people have done over like I think close to $1 billion in multifamily acquisition. So, but they're all old school. They don't use these tools and technologies, and those are some of the things that I'm starting to bring to the table and helping them out and showing them what's possible today.
Do you have access to their data sets of all the stuff they've done in the past to pull from?
That's another big piece of it. And it goes back to like my whole thing with Growth Boost. It's all about extracting your domain expertise. Like AI is only as good as, the data that you're giving it, as well as like how you are going to communicate with it. So you can't just be like, I'm going to buy this out of the box AI and it's going to start doing all my lead gen for me or whatever use case it is. If you don't sit there and train it and like do the things that it needs to do, you're going to see really shitty results. And that's when I talk to my clients about those pieces. I'm like, okay, I can get you these certain data points, but I need the back end, like the last 30 years of data on like what your house specs looks like and like all that. And that's how like we can really make these systems super powerful for you.
Yeah, there's the hidden advantage to people who were collecting information for a long time, even if it's as simple as just collecting your SOPs over the years. Like, here's kind of anything written down of how we do stuff, or here's like data of how it turned out. All that stuff that used to be almost kind of worthless, it had a very little marginal value, now is the keys to the castle. Like, it pays off exponentially if someone has been documenting and keeping track, and there's just historic data, which is exciting for people who've been doing that.
Yeah, there's a home inspection company that I'm helping out right now that they've been recording all of their data for like the last 20 years on home inspections. And now they're using it as training data because like there's a huge gap in that industry right now to like get young talent in. So now I've been building them a system with like all their old like Zoom data, Otter data, like old MP4 like recordings, and it's built this training database for them. So that's another one that has been really cool to work on. And it actually got my whole idea around. I launched this product called Pass the Keys. So it's Keys.ai, and I'm targeting like business brokers, trusted advisors, like CPAs, estate planning attorneys, where they have the relationship with the business owners, but these business owners might not be as sophisticated as that person, but still that stuff's all fragmented, where a lot of that domain expertise is just stuck in their head. A lot of these business owners with cash flowing businesses, they're boomers, they're about to retire. Some of them don't even have iPhones. They don't want to be in that part of it. So I built it out to where it has conversations with them. It extracts all of their domain expertise and it gives them a view of their dashboard of like customer data, operations, like key people that you need to interview. And it's all in a one-stop shop. So that's kind of my baby right now that I'm really working on outside of just doing things for clients, that I think has a lot of legs to stand on as we're heading into the next like 5 to 10 years as people retire.
That's really interesting, actually, because I was just addressing something similar with our operations manager who has been with me for going on 3 years here. And he has so much random domain expertise of just, he's got the keys to the castle. He knows all the little things.
Yep.
And we have most of it systematized, but also he just does things naturally that I have no idea. And so it's like trying to figure out what he's up to. And so what we ended up doing was, in collaboration with him, like we was like, hey, I want to figure out all the different things that we're missing here and get it documented. And so we've gone through and interviewed every other position at the company, and then done an interview with him, and then taken all those transcripts and put them into Claude, and basically try to look for overlap on tasks or inefficiencies, Lean Six Sigma things that we could make more efficient, and handoffs and all those things. And there's just a massive amount of value in just passing. It's kind of like passing the keys thing. It's like, what are all these people doing? What do they know? And then how do we even make that more efficient? And how do we replace a key person if they were to, get hit by a car or something? So
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly where I think there's a huge benefit for it. So where I'm going to like networking meetups with just business brokers and stuff, and it's starting to get that out there.
that's cool. Are you at I mean, you must have to just choose which projects you can accept and work on. There must be, I mean, there's almost unlimited amount of people who are probably be interested in you building for them. What do you look for in the right client?
I come from like a sales and operations side. So like as I'm going through some of these calls, I really try to understand like, do they have the blocking and tackling of their operations already done? Because if not, then you're talking about like normal revenue operation things that I possibly have to go in and like reconfigure. Some of the bigger companies, it's like, okay, is everyone on board to potentially bring AI in? Or is there a bunch of change management pieces that we're going to have to run into? So those are those are definitely like two things that I look into, because like I tell customers, I'm like, if your CRM's really crappy, or like you don't have really good processes already, that's just like normal structure for a business, throwing AI onto it is going to be really bad. So until you fix that, or you want to hire me to potentially go do some of that stuff, but that stuff might take a lot more time than I want to put my energy towards. I'm like, you got to solve that before I can come in and help you. So those are definitely two of the big things that I look into. The best clients are the ones of like, hey, I'm watching all this stuff on the internet. I have like these 3 ideas that I see all these other people. Can you build these 3 things for me? And then we just kind of like plan it out over the next 3 months. Because ideally, I like to do one project at a time, unless they're like smaller projects, and I can come in and be like, okay, we'll do this one in 2 weeks, that one in 2 weeks. But typically with these softwares and things that you're building, you want to build it in 2 weeks, test it for 2 weeks, and then like fully launch it in the business by week, 4 or 5.
What's the success been like handing those off once you get it built, and then now they have to adopt it, and then they have to keep it alive to some extent. You gotta it's almost like a living thing that needs to be updated and fed information. How's that part going?
It's good. I mean, it's taking some of my private repos and moving it over, and transferring over Vercel and Supabase if needed, and primarily if it's not super API like heavy, I'll just handle the keys, like the Anthropic keys and things like that during the initial phase, and then move it over from there. So that's been a new world that I've been into, because a lot of these people have been on retainers. But I think that's a great company idea. If there would be like a one-shot like software that you could press to like transfer everything over, and there's nothing there yet, because right now, you got like 3 or 4 tools on the back end that you have to eventually transfer. Now, granted, all those tools make it pretty easy to move it over now, but that is one piece that I've been thinking about.
How about personal systems? How has it affected how you work for yourself, or just any personal systems you have?
Yeah. And it's funny. It's like, I would love to spend more time on my own personal systems, but I'm so busy with my clients. And I was telling my wife this the other day. I'm like, I need to work on my business again, because I was starting on it. Like, I got the Mac Mini, I had OpenClaw, and I was doing all those things, and it's integrated into Slack and doing that. And like, I even had like my own like dashboard running. But then I got so busy with my clients that I still use it, but not to the extent that I know I can be like, hey, this is super powerful. Like the Hermes agents, like that's the big thing right now. And it's interesting to kind of see people completely shift off of OpenClaw over to that. So there's like a list of my own ideas that, I'm trying to build out. Like the health dashboard's one, finance is huge. Like I use Monarch right now, and I'm like, oh, I could rebuild Monarch and just have it for myself. Like anyone can get a Plaid subscription now to connect their financial accounts. So like that type of stuff, and helping with the family, like with my wife and kids and stuff, like having our own like just internal dashboards. So those are things that I'm hoping to have done by the end of the month. That's a big goal of mine.
Nice. Yeah, the personal systems are the most, they like draw me, because it's about my own life, like my health system or my financial system, like you're saying, building those things out. Those are like my Saturday evening, like, oh, I'm gonna go just play and build something for selfish. But it's like I don't get to it as much as I like, but it's always like I'm always very excited about it when I do. Um, yeah, I can only imagine. How many kids do you have? You have 2 kids?
3.
3 kids? Yeah, I mean, you could probably build out some really interesting. What would you
Yeah.
build for your like a lifestyle or a family management type
Yeah.
systems? What do you
That's
see there?
exactly what I think I would build out. Is like a full family management system, from like groceries to chores to like all the stuff going on in our lives. Like just being able to like have like an agent review that. Cause I even like my wife and I, we try to have like a sync up on Sundays, but sometimes that's hard. I'm like, oh, if I could just have this agent like send us a text message of like, hey, here's your weekly digest of everything that's about to go on for the week, and like command and conquer. That would be huge. And there's people already doing it. Like Greg Eisenberg, who does the startup podcast. He just had he had this, I forgot the guy's name, Andrew. I can't remember his last name, but he was just on there. Dude runs 30 companies, and like he does it all through text now, because
wow.
he has this whole system on a Mac Mini back at his house, and he runs everything through that, and he can just be constantly on the go, speaking at events, and like everything. He was talking about like all of his personal health systems and what he does for his family too. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what I want to get to. And like people look at that, I'm like, that must be really hard. And I'm like, it's really not. It's just sitting down and doing exactly what we talked about at the beginning of like, go into plan mode, take that, move in there. And then like you can do all these scheduled coding tasks and things now with Claude Code, to where it just keeps running and does everything that it needs to do. And then you got to, your first MVP and polished product, and you just kind of work on it from there.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things that Claude Code, and this is freed up for me, is I do more of my work while I'm walking. I'll still be productive, but I can go on a long walk at the beach, 2-hour walk or whatever, and I'll just be hashing out the ideas, like the plan mode. Often that type of thing I'll be able to do. But yeah, the idea of running it all from text is next level. But that's the way we're going. That is exciting. What have you built for yourself so far?
Yeah, I mean, I built out my initial stuff for our land business, but personally, I haven't built out anything personally for me, other than like I have my command center for Growth Boost, like that I have tied up to GHL right now, that like just manages like, it's like my project management dashboards for, it's pretty much my Notion. I don't need Notion anymore.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I took screenshots of Notion. I'm like, let's build this out ourselves. And I also want to like make it look like these things. And now I have it to where it's set up for my own business, and I have a couple different data points connected. But that's as far as I have it right now. But it does exactly what I need it to do, and it's got a little agent in there and helps me out throughout the week. It keeps me accountable on, hey, you just had this Zoom call. Here's the top priorities, and making sure I'm staying on task with everybody.
Yeah, that's you've got so much going on. I'm sure that the prioritization of your time becomes one of the key strategy decisions that you end up making. And it's all, the way that I envision business is it's a prioritization and a decision making game, because eventually we run out of leverage. We only have so much time. And so it's just, okay, what decisions do I make in what order decides how well I do. And so I've been trying to take a lot more time making the correct strategy decisions and deciding where I spend my time. And I built out I call it a CEO brain, but it
Yep.
is all of the decisions that I've made over the last year, the outcomes of those decisions, the way that I like the mental models or frameworks that I use to make those decisions, and then kind of the priorities I thought the company had at certain times and the outcomes of that. And I'm trying to build a decision making assistant, essentially, that uses good frameworks. And that's something I've been building. I've been using Obsidian because it has
Yep.
the you connect disparate ideas and see the relation between them. Have you been using Obsidian at all, or do you?
I like Obsidian a lot. That's what I'm using on the back end for Pass the Keys as like the business brain.
Mhm.
And then also with the holistic doctor,
Mhm.
we're starting to build that out, because like he's got all these ideas and like all this different stuff, and he kind of wants to start piecemealing it all together. He's like, I could make my own GPT health for my specific, business. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think the the visual that Obsidian gives you, just with all
Yeah.
those where it actually looks like a brain, is one of
Yeah.
the best
Looks like
things about it.
looks like a
It's
Death Star.
yeah, for sure. It's like, oh,
Or
this is cool. Like, feels like it's going to come to life at some point, though. So, um, cool. Well, what else? What else are you working on that's interesting, or anything we've kind of glossed over here? You want to dig a little bit deeper into?
I don't think so. I mean, high level, like those are definitely all the things that I'm working on right now. I think like where we're at, like voice agents was like the big thing before, and now it's like, okay, let's take it to like an enterprise level and open Claude really opened up the ideas, and now the ability to, you know, build these dashboards. And it's interesting right now, like these dashboards, like, are they going to be used? Like, are you going to use them in 5 years, or is everything just going to go to voice? And like these dashboards will still live, and you can log into them any point in time. So yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting right now, like where we're at. And like, I'm kind of, you know, this is the wave that everyone's trying to build with AI, but like, how long will it last before like the next thing pops up? But I think we're going to get closer and closer to voice, because iOS 27 just Bloomberg like leaked it, and Siri is going to connect to Claude. It's going to, or Claude, Gemini, or ChatGPT. You can choose. So then you just plug your like account in, and then Siri has the back-end brain of a large LLM, which I don't understand how that's going to be for like billing purposes and stuff. But I saw the visuals of how it's going to be. I'm like, yeah, you could just be on a walk now, and you just ping Siri, and Siri could go start doing all these things. So I would expect it more and more to get to voice. Like, you're gonna have a foldable phone, like the new foldable iPhone that's coming out. Like, I even, where are they at? I got these, the Meta glasses, and I didn't use them for a year. Like, we got them through Pace Morby's Owners Club retreat, because I thought they were kind of creepy. But actually, I've used them recently. I'm like, these are pretty sweet. Like, there's a lot of benefit there. And I've heard, like, I go to these trade events and things here in Chicago, and because you can change out the lenses, and contractors are using them now to like take photos of things that they're doing, and it's connected to Claude, and it's sending it back to like their CRM or their operations team at their office and quoting.
Wow.
So, and these are just blue collar people that are like building these things out and just getting these ideas. And I love it. So it's, there's so much opportunity right now. It's super exciting.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I will be so happy when I don't have to lug around a cell phone. That feels like my least favorite piece of technology at this point. It's like, why do I have this brick in my pocket all the time? I don't like it. So, yeah,
Yep.
that'll be. If I want them to make at least just a tiny foldable iPhone is probably the play. That sounds good.
There's a new phone out there that's getting a lot of hype called Side Phone, and it looks like an old iPod, and you can slide out. They actually have the scroll, like you can use it, but you can slide it out and put like an old BlackBerry keyboard on it. And it has like the Proton VPN connected, and it only has like 3 apps, and it's like Uber, Google Maps, and like, I don't even think it has a browser on it. But there's a lot of younger people that are picking those up because of the screen time and everything else. And it's just kind of like a simple phone to use again. And then, like, yeah, if you have that plus AI, like in other facets, like voice, like, yeah, you don't really need that, because like, what if you had like a Mac Mini or some type of thing set up at your house that you could call on anywhere you're at, and it's on like a local model, and it's set up to your devices. So,
yeah, again, it's like this theme of a lot of the technology being abstracted away. It becomes more of the piping to get things done. So like the first example was Notion. We both were heavy Notion users. Now I just basically we use it as like almost like a database or reference, but we don't open it often because we interact through Claude. So Notion has been abstracted away. You just mentioned that abstracting away even abstracting away the cell phone, like a lot of that is just becomes unnecessary if you can just talk and get the thing that you want or need. Oh, the dashboards, that was it. Like, are we going to keep having dashboards? Well, I mean, they might go the way of Notion, where we just open them barely ever. They just keep track of everything, almost like a database. We might need to open them, but we can just say, hey, what's this number? And it'll just tell us, or give me these numbers, and it builds you a little page and shows it to you. And not even have to worry about clicking through dashboards even. So, yeah, interesting. Where is the best place for people to find you, and who are the people who should be trying to find you? Like, if someone hears this and they're like, I want to work with Nick or talk to Nick, who are they and who aren't they?
yeah, I mean, right now I'm working with business owners of any shape and size. I'm working with large enterprise, like VC funded companies with 200 million in backing and like 200 plus employees, to like solo franchise owners. So I'm very open. They just, the folks that are coming to me, they're open-minded about AI. They want to implement it. I'm not here to like try and, convince somebody that they need to do it right now. I think there's enough people out there and enough information that, if that's the choice you want to make, you can. So that's primarily who I'm working with. I mean, I highly encourage anybody right now that is like in an IC role or a W-2 position, like get on skilljar.anthropic.com. You can do Gemini's got it with Google. ChatGPT has their own. But like, go learn this stuff. Become AI native in your space, because that's how you're going to level up against your peers in your job. And a couple of my old coworkers, since I left my job in January, have reached out to me to tell me like, hey, Nick, like I took your advice, like I'm doing these things now. And like everybody in the department's trying to learn from me. And I'm like building out these systems internally. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like that's exactly what you should be doing to get an edge and like show that like, that's how like the modern day corporate America is definitely going to operate in. But I'm glad to be out of it. So I don't have to deal with it myself, but yeah, you can reach out to me at, growthboost.ai. It's got all my contact information on there. Follow me on LinkedIn. I am going to start a YouTube channel. Like I already have like my social set up for X and YouTube. But those are probably going to be the three places you can find me, and go from there. Like if you're just trying to figure out, hey, what exactly can I do with AI? I have a 5-minute assessment on my website. You take it, it's a couple questions, and then a text box at the bottom where you can kind of like brain dump, and it'll send you an email and then a PDF of like a whole analysis on your business and everything that you potentially need to do there.
Fantastic. The final question I usually ask, just a fun question as we wrap up here. If you could send one message out and the whole world would see it, say it's on Twitter, but the whole world could see it, so it's got to be short, pithy. What would you say? What would be your message to the world?
Man, that's a deep thought. I don't know. That's a hard one. I could probably go in a couple different directions there. My Twitter tagline on my current account is stop wishing, start working. And I think that's probably something I'd most likely say, and I always live by, because there's so many dreamers in the world and they see all this stuff on the internet. But if you just sit there and watch YouTube videos all day and don't take action yourself, like you're never going to move forward. So definitely my big thing is do the work, take the action, and you want to achieve your goals, like anything is possible.
Big time. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, great to chat with you again, Nick. And we'll have to do this again, hear where you're going. And people can find you at growthboost.ai or at your LinkedIn. And thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you so much for your time.
Cheers.